Hi there, welcome to Tarotland Soap Opera. Today I'm going to do a reading for Leo energy. And we're going to shuffle. We're going to start out with this one deck. I can't remember what the name of it is, but this is it. We start out with the third chakra and the sixth chakra. And the reason they came out is because of financial constraints. So financial constraints is like the Five of Pentacles, and it's kind of about our philosophy of life. So the third chakra can talk about our life source energy, kind of our passionate, creative, inspired energy. And the sixth chakra can be about how we used our intuition. Well, for one, some people, they could tap into these and use these in a more worldly focused way because they're still more caught up and inspired by the world. And that's kind of what drives and motivates them. And they might not want, we can all stay in denial of the truth. The truth sets us free to live our life differently. But some people are just still caught up in themselves or these things of the world. And they might feel in lack, is what the Five of Pentacles can talk about. But they haven't invested in listening to their intuition. We either live more from our mind than our heart and our more emotionally intuitive, creative energy. We were given our intuition, our sixth sense, our higher self. But some people are like, nope, that is not the foundation I operate from. In our Taurus energy within all of us, we have a philosophy of life that dictates and kind of guides the decisions we make. Based on how we view life, what motivates and inspires us, kind of what our truth is. And some people, it's like, no, I don't even care if my intuition is telling me I should stop doing one thing and do something else or try something else. I'm not going to do it. We've all been inspired to listen to our intuition and move forward with things in the past, and it didn't work out the way we wanted. Well, the whole thing is we would have kind of been drawn and attracted to people because we have lessons to learn that are important for us as we go on this journey in life. And we were drawn and attracted to certain people probably, to help us get clear about our truth. What is your philosophy of life? How do you view yourself? How do you view the world? How do you view other people? And if we're willing to get out of our ego and learn lessons in life, we could detach from an old way of viewing life. And that is what some people are doing. Because in high vibe, the Five of Pentacles moves away from the Four of Pentacles. I had a way of living life, a way of viewing life. As I was living my life that way, initially it could have started out great. I was excited. I was living the dream. But if we don't continue to grow and heal and mature ourselves, we keep moving forward, investing in that same pattern, like I'm just going to keep doing that longer. And it's not as abundant as it used to be. Just like age 18 to age 21. When we were 18, that was great. We were living the dream. But then when it's kind of like our intuition and our life force energy is telling us it's time to move on. Take the lessons you've learned from this life experience. See what you should let go of, what you should take with. And face your fears, to love and believe in yourself, to keep moving forward in life. High vibe Leo, being confident within yourself, believing in yourself, giving yourself things that you wish other people would have given you, being loving and nurturing and encouraging to yourself, to believe that you can move forward victoriously at that next phase of life. And so we detach from an old way of living life and viewing life. We face our fears and we move forward. And that's what some people are doing. They're harnessing like high vibe life force energy. They're creative, inspired, and they're listening to their intuition and their intellect and their reason. I have a dream. If what I went to go pursue didn't work out the way I wanted, am I going to stay in my ego about it? Am I going to spend all my life trying to encourage other people to change? Because the fives also talk about change. All I can do is offer people love and encouragement. And when my intuition tells me, I'm kind of ready for the next phase of life, let's move forward, be a little more bold, brave, confident, believe in ourselves to grow to our full potential. And we have other people in our life that are like, I want to stay here. With a lot of people, we say, well, that's fine. I've had people move on ahead of me when I wasn't ready. And we can wish each other peace. You go do you, I'll go stay here for now. And some people might be feeling kind of left out in the cold because some other people are maybe have learned to love themselves, have healed from past pain and heartbreak or self-limiting beliefs, and they're kind of moving forward. Well, until they do that work within themselves to figure out why don't they move forward in life differently? What is it that is it things within themselves? Is it things other people in their life? Why aren't they moving forward and wishing people in their life peace and encouragement to move forward with them? And if those people don't want to move forward that way, they wish them peace. It's harder. It can be hard to, sometimes we get in relationships with people and we move forward like in jobs and friendships with people. And then we kind of realize our philosophy of life is different. What drives and motivates you and what your truth is and your philosophy of life and maybe what you think is like just and fair and what motivates and inspires you is different than what I think is just and fair and what motivates and inspires me. The truth sets us free. High vibe people are loving and encouraging to people and like truthful and honest. High vibe Leo is being authentic, being loving, being encouraging. I'm not trying to manipulate and control you, but I have a dream. Do you want to move forward with me in this way, or is that not your thing? If it's not your thing, then I wish you peace, but I'm going to keep moving forward. And some of you did do that. Some other people didn't want to move forward in that way. They're going to move forward in life the way they want to move forward, and that's fine. Different strokes for different folks. Well, let's just get some more on the story. We're all at different stages in our life. Are we willing to be more bold and brave and confident? Are we willing to be more authentically ourselves in the world? Or do our ego and our fears and other things that manipulate us hold us back, right? So tell us a little bit more about this story going on in Leo energy. So this might be a big thing that people who are a Leo sun sign or have a lot of or significant Leo placements, but we all tap into Leo energy. So we're either more aligned with our worldly, egoic philosophy of life, or we've learned some lessons in life and we're more inspired to listen to our intuition and detach from our more worldly, egoic nature and things that manipulate us. High vibe energy is about being free to live your authentic life. Some people just aren't willing to live their more authentic life. Some people like to live more from their mind than their heart. Make their life more about these things of the world instead of love. Six of Cups, the Judgment card, the Three of Swords, the Seven of Swords. And the reason that came out is because of the Death card. So in High Vibe, the Death card is about death and transformation. Kind of like my nesting dolls that I have over there. We were age 15. It was great to be a 15-year-old. But if we keep living life like a 15-year-old, then in shadowy energy, the Death card is like we're not growing and healing and maturing ourselves. We deceive ourselves. We get up in our head. We don't believe we can be victorious and successful at the next level of life, like becoming like a 21-year-old, that we keep repeating an old pattern. And the Six of Cups can talk about repeating an old pattern. And, just like we shed old layers of ourself, like I need to put an end to my more immature, self-indulgent, or whatever ways of being. If I want my dreams to come into reality, the Seven of Swords is Aquarius energy. Do we look at life from a higher perspective? Do we have, and it talks about having hope and faith and belief in your dreams. Are we listening to our intuition? And some people are like, oh, I don't want to listen to my intuition. I did that once before and it didn't work out the way I wanted. Well, we were meant to learn lessons from that life experience. And then we were supposed to take those lessons we learned with us as we move forward. We were to call judgment on that past experience. I learned the lessons I was meant to learn from it. I don't want to repeat that pattern anymore. I found out there were some things about it I didn't like. So then, even though I'm heartbroken, high vibe people aren't willing to let go of their dreams. From the 4 to the 7, it's like taking back the 4 swords. There was people in my life that I would have liked to have healed things with, and I wish it was more just and fair. But those people have their way of viewing life, and the way they want to live their life, and the way they wanted to live their life was different than how you wanted to live your life. And we see the truth of it. And instead of kind of deceiving myself, like, oh no, one day I'm sure they'll change, one day I'm sure they'll, look at life differently. If they were motivated and inspired to look at life differently, they probably would have looked at life differently by now, right? And if we want our dreams to come into reality, a big thing is we've got to get out of our ego, which is shadowy Leo energy. I need to make a decision to emotionally detach from the past. I offer it peace and love. Everybody is where they were at. Some of them were unjust. Some of them were unfair. Some of them were deceptive and manipulative. Some of them were bossy and controlling, intimidating. Some of them were more egotistical or superficial or shallow. I just see the truth of it. Now when I go out in the world, I'm not as naive and gullible as I was before. I have learned a lot of truths from the 3 to the 7. And one thing, and maybe the most important thing I learned, is I can't heal other people. I can only offer people truth and love. They have to make a decision within themselves to detach from what manipulates them. And some of those people don't want to detach from those things that manipulate them. Things within themselves, deal with past pain and heartbreak, other people in their life, the world. They don't want to listen to their intuition. We all have the free will choice to stay in denial of the truth. But High Vibe Leo is offering love to it, to illuminate the truth, to deal with the truth in peace and love, so you don't deceive and manipulate yourself. To love and believe in yourself, offer yourself love, compassion, forgiveness for the lessons you've had to learn. You could have learned some lessons that some other people haven't learned yet. You know how it turns out. They don't. And some people are going to have to learn some lessons the hard way, just like you did. So if they're not ready to deal with the truth, we're all ready to deal with the truth when we're ready to deal with the truth. When we're ready to emotionally detach from the past. And some people aren't ready to deal with the issues of the past now, and they may never want to. So we free ourselves. I wish you peace. You live your life the way you want to live your life. I'm not going to keep staying up in my head and heartbroken about it. I've learned lessons. Our philosophy of life is not the same. What we think is just and fair is not the same. How we view life, how we view relationships, how we treat each other is not the same. And I have a dream. And I am going... High Vibe Leo, I'm going to give myself the things that I wish other people would have given me. I'm going to treat myself with truth and love and justice and fairness and encouragement so I can stay. The 6 of Cups can talk about staying at a place of balance within yourself. So that I can move forward, not repeating some of those poor past patterns, because the only person I can ultimately hold to accountability is myself. Other people are going to do what they're going to do. And in high vibe Taurus, I'm going to walk the talk. I'm going to put into action what I profess to believe. And I have hope and faith and belief in my dreams. But I'm not going to live in illusion and in denial. I accept the truth that when people have the free will choice to act in truth and love, some of them didn't. And the people who I am moving forward with are people who are more just and fair and balanced and truthful and authentic, who kind of have some of the same dreams I have of being in relationships with people who act that way. And they're not repeating poor past patterns that they know would end a relationship if they had some life skills that they've learned. Some people haven't. Some people, shadowy Leo, can be people who, well, I don't want to be more authentic and just and fair and loving. I kind of have this maybe deceive myself about what it means to be in a relationship. And I kind of do have these ways of operating in a relationship. And some of those people try to repeat some poor past patterns of behavior with some people. And the people they were in a relationship with were like, what? What are you doing? Yeah, I have been in relationships with people who've acted like that before. That was like, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago, when I was like 18 and 21 or in junior high. And if you think I'm going back to doing that type of relationship, you are confused. Because there's a maximum of 10 in every suit. And so if you're 7 of swords up in your head, you have 3 cups of love in your heart. You're either operating from a foundation of love, having hope and faith, and looking at things from a higher perspective, not getting all caught up in your head. The 5s also can kind of talk about trying to maintain balance even though there's conflict going on. And I'm going to listen to my intuition. And based on these lessons I've learned, trying to maintain balance within myself. The 3 of Swords is Libra energy, represented by the scales of justice. Trying to maintain balance between my mind and my heart. And I've learned to offer love, to try to work cooperatively with people, to try to help all of us move forward through when there's heartbreak or confusion or stress or anxiety or whatever. You've learned those lessons. Other people don't have those coping skills because they still have some lessons to learn. And it's like, that might not even be what pops in their head. Oh my gosh. And they get all up in their head. And some people can have a lot of fear of other people trying to emotionally manipulate them. And maybe they had people in their past that were stubborn and prideful and deceptive and manipulative and intimidating and bossy and controlling. And they're so afraid of other people trying to manipulate them that they're not seeing things clearly. When we tip into our more shadowy nature of like fear and insecurity and defensiveness and over self-protectiveness in a way, it just clouds our judgment, and we're not keeping things in perspective. And then some people, so then they go repeat some poor past patterns. And other people are like, yep, I'm leaving. Some people keep repeating some poor past patterns. They get in relationships, and maybe because, again, they haven't called judgment on either living more from their mind and their heart than listening to their intuition about the people they're in relationships with. They get all caught up in their head. Or they really are more deceptive and kind of manipulative, but they can try to create an illusion. Oh no, I've gotten over the past. I'm not defensive. I'm not manipulative. I'm not stubborn. I'm not more egotistical or materialistically motivated, but they are. People the hair Taurus energy can be where people are presenting themselves in the world. I'm the stable, grounded person. You should date me. You should marry me. You should hire me. You should go into business with me. Trying to maybe present themselves as like this pillar of society, male or female. And that could be how they were brought up. Some people wear a very good false mask. They use their intuition about people and it's kind of like being a scammer. They use their life force energy, their mind, all for trying to shadowy Leo energy manipulate people. Create an illusion about who they are. Oh, I'm motivated and inspired by justice and fairness and truth and love and growing and healing and maturing myself. But again, they're being deceptive and manipulative. You either use your emotions. If you're 7 swords up in your head, you're either listening to your intuition because you operate from a 3 of Cups high vibe Cancer energy of love, or you kind of use your emotions manipulatively and your shadow nature manipulates you, and it's kind of more of being strategic. What should I do to get these people to move forward with me or to hire me? How can I use my emotions manipulatively, my words manipulatively, my image, my status, my sexuality, my past? How can I use all these things to try to manipulate me? Some people are purposely looking for people who they think feel left out in the cold. Oh, the 6 of Cups can talk about people working together with others. Oh, were you working together with someone and it ended? Oh, did that not go the way you wanted? You're heartbroken? Oh, here I come. I'm going to come get in a relationship with you. Oh, do you feel left out in the cold? Wonderful. Because if they were moving forward with people who once upon a time could have kind of been in that energy, but those people did some work within themselves to heal from their past pain and heartbreak and things in their life that had manipulated them, and those people are moving forward in life differently, and they're like, oh shit, I didn't want to move forward in life differently. Why'd you change? I liked it when you were in this energy. Then I could be in a relationship with you and you'd stay in a relationship with me because I don't want to deal with my shit when you weren't dealing with your shit. That was great. We could all move forward together. Being in our pain and our heartbreak or caught up in the world or whatever we're indulging in. And we can keep repeating this old pattern. I want to repeat that old pattern. But when they get, not everybody refuses to look at some of their baggage periodically. Why do I keep dragging this stuff around? I am going to open it up. I'm going to, in high vibe Leo energy, I'm going to shine light and love and bring some of this stuff up out of the dark and wonder why I keep letting that stuff manipulate me. If I have a lack mentality, I am looking at it. Why do I not feel good enough? Why do I feel restricted and limited and imprisoned and enslaved by all these things from my past? Why do I let people from my past who might have been unjust, unfair, hurtful, unkind, deceptive, manipulative? Why do I let those people run my life? Screw that. I'm putting an end to that. I don't control other people. Other people have the free will to act and behave whatever way they want. Some of those people, there might be people who they think in some way can benefit them that they don't kind of pull that shit with. But a lot of the people who are unjust, unfair, bossy, controlling, egotistical, intimidating, controlling, unloving, it's not just you that they're like that with in the world. That kind of is how they are. Will they temper their ego in certain situations if they think it will benefit them? Yeah. But that's the thing. Some people are missing out on a lot because they're not appreciating they have a screwed up kind of value system, right? And high vibe people are like, I'm not going to let people that were in shadowy energy stop me and make me give up on my dreams. I am more determined than ever to move forward. High vibe Leo, get out of my ego about it, move forward victoriously. We live in a world of duality. There's loving, encouraging, and supportive people in our life and in the world. There's shadowy, manipulative, petty, envious, jealous, competitive, whatever type of people in the world. We can't get rid of it. If we let people who are in, you could look at the death card in shadow as non-life-giving, non-loving energy. That energy is around all the time. It exists within you in your own shadow nature. Your own shadow nature doesn't want you to love and believe in yourself and give birth to anything new. Your shadow nature wants to run your life. And it doesn't care if you end up in the gutter when it gets done. It's going to lick its fingers and say, that was great. Because it's like, with the knowledge of the tree and good and evil planted within you, the seeds of both are there and want to have life. So your shadow nature doesn't want your more loving nature to run your life. And it tries to use fear and insecurity and belittlement and beratement, just like people in our life can do to us, to stop us from loving and believing in ourselves. Our loving, believing nature and loving, believing, and encouraging people in our life try to use love and encouragement, working with us cooperatively in love, not trying to intimidate and control us. And we have to decide, and I kind of view the sevens in tarot as kind of that tipping point, because Taurus energy is like the Supreme Court in our own head. And we have the 12 zodiac sign traits and characteristics that we all tap into, either kind of high vibe, kind of worldly, more focus, or more shadowy focus. In order for the scales to be tipped in one way or the other, there has to be a majority, and 7 is the majority. And for a lot of our life growing up, we were kind of tipped in favor, because we had these lessons learned more about our fears and our insecurities and our codependency, and, basically we just had all these lessons learned. And then we come in contact with all these different people to help us get clear about what our truth is, what our truth isn't. What is our truth? What is our philosophy of life? How do we view ourselves, the world? How do we view relationships? And everybody in the world has got their own philosophy. At what time are we going to be inspired to break free, no longer let the past manipulate us, and our mind and our fear? Because our mind could be like our self-protective, self-defensive nature. Like, you can't go out there and play in the world. You could fall down and skin your knee and get hurt. You need to stay in here and let your mind and your ego run your life. I mean, it doesn't mean that we don't use logic and reason, but, we've all probably gotten caught up in our head and our fear and all those things. Take the lessons you've learned. Listen to your intuition. Maintain balance within yourself. Why not choose to be in that hopeful, believing energy? You could choose to be in pessimistic belittlement and beratement. There's a lot of people in the world that would like you to be in that energy. If you would be in that shadowy energy, there's some people in the world that would love to be in a relationship with you. Because they don't want to be in relationships with people who aren't in that energy. Because then it requires them to transform their life and work through their issues of the past, hold themselves accountable, get more balance within themselves, look at life from a higher perspective and keep things in perspective. And some of those people are kind of tipped more in favor of aligning with their more worldly philosophy of life and kind of being a little more inspired about the world or themselves and living more from their mind and their heart. And maybe are okay both the Six of Cups and the Death card is Scorpio energy, which is emotional water sign energy. But if you're not someone who really aligns with your more hopeful, believing, loving nature, it's kind of like you've put an end to being more balanced within yourself, and you kind of tipped in favor of being more about yourself, your defensive nature, self-interest nature, worldly nature. And we just need to see the truth of it. Everybody has free will, and they're going to make those decisions based on how they view the world. Are they more motivated by hope and faith and belief and love and to be more authentic themselves in the world? Or do they feel more safe and comfortable? You know, because we probably all do what we think is just and fair, and we all want to feel safe. Some people are like, I'm not even ever going to do love. I get her doing love. I already been there, done that. And sadly, they didn't learn the lesson. Instead of realizing not everybody can be like some people in their life that hurt them, it's like, well, no, now I don't trust anybody. It's like, well, then you gave up on your dreams. You let people who are shadowy, bossy, deceptive, manipulative, or whatever, or something, make you give up on believing in your dreams. Some people don't want to take just more bold, creative, inspired action in their life. If they knew people that are a little more emotionally shallow and superficial, let's be in a relationship, let's move forward in a relationship, we get along pretty well, it maybe isn't our dream of what we wanted for our life, but by worldly standards, we look very victorious and successful and can get along well enough and happy enough family. It's just maybe not a deep, meaningful, more motivated by love relationship. And some people grew up in families like that, right? And for them, some people like to follow this template. It's kind of like conforming to the world or living life like your parents said you should live life, and this is how they did it, so that's what they're going to do. It's like, maybe that was the right decision for those people at that time, because everybody has to make decisions based on their life circumstances. And some people are repeating an old pattern of a way of living life and viewing life because they're too afraid to go live their more authentic life. Like, well, what if that won't work? I know these people did this and they acted like that and they did this and they talked to these people and not those people and they attended these functions and they didn't go to those functions, and it's this whole thing of trying to present this illusion of what a wonderful life you have and what a pillar of society you are. But it's not living your own more authentic life. Well, what if I do that and it doesn't work out? I should play it safe. I should do what they did. So they're not willing to harness like high vibe fire energy, which is our creative, inspired, intuitive nature. And of course, Leo is fire sign energy. And Sagittarius is fire sign energy, which is about higher learning and education. We got to wrap our brain around this game of life. And some people are like, nope, I don't want. And some people don't believe there's anything more to aspire to in this world. It's what the world says. That's very worldly Taurus Leo energy. The world says this is what life is. There is no higher truth or purpose to being here. We're in the world. It's about finding someone maybe to be in a relationship with. The world tells you if you look like a shining star in the world in some way, then when you die, that was all a worthy goal. And other people I think there's more about being on this planet than just about what the world says is what I should make my life about. Because there too, depending on where you live in the world, what do you make your life about? What do you wear? What do you not wear? Can you show your wrists? Can you show your ankles? Do you have short hair? Do you have long hair? Can you dance? Can you not dance? Can you, there's so many. Taurus talks about all these man-made rules and regulations. If you adhere to a higher truth and justice, I listen to my intuition. Is this just? Is this fair? Are people acting with character and integrity? Are people working cooperatively with people? Do people seem to be inspired and motivated, coming from a place of truth and love? Otherwise, it can be trying to manipulate and control people. And sometimes hoping to deceive and manipulate people to get in relationships with them, not being truthful and honest, and hoping that when the people find out you're not who you said you are, because of their ego and their image, and what would people say in the judgment card if you were to detach from it? And some people say, judge away, world. If I feel like someone isn't acting with character and integrity anymore, or they were lying about their whole motivation and interest for being in it to begin with, that's like fraud. And it's also a contract. Love is supposed to be just and fair. You're supposed to treat other people the way you like to be treated. And if people are not doing that, then I adhere to a higher truth and justice. And I'm going to walk the talk. And if there's people who are trying to get me all up in my head and deceive and manipulate me and get me all worried about my image and whatever, you can have it. I'm going to go live my authentic life, and the world can judge away. I am not going to stay in a philosophy of life, a workplace, a friendship, a relationship where people are not operating from love, and that is my truth. And some of the people who did that could be heartbroken now because they were trying to manipulate someone who is inspiring them to love and believe in themselves. But they got up in their fear, they got up in their ego, and they chose shadowy Leo versus high vibe Leo energy in their life. And now those people might be moving forward trying to deceive and manipulate someone else again about the truth of who they are because they're not being authentic. Or they have a lack mentality, or enough is never enough. You know, some people have more than enough image, status, power, influence, money, love. But for some people, it's never enough. I don't have enough attention. I don't have enough people paying attention to me. I don't have enough money. It's always a lack mentality. Enough is never enough. It's like people who can get a duck. You know, people can look to different things to make them feel high vibe Leo, victorious and successful. Some people look to drugs, alcohol, food, power, gambling, sex. Some people look to money. And for some people, enough will never be enough. And it's like the devil dragging them down into hell, and they don't even see it coming. That all the things that they thought it was going to get them, if you're not moving forward in truth and love, it's probably not going to turn out the way you want. Even when you do act in truth and love, it doesn't turn out the way you want. But high vibe people don't. They learn lessons from those life experiences. Where do I need to heal and grow and mature myself? What kind of people was I gotten in a relationship with? Okay, note taken. I am going. It's kind of like God wants us to get our divine inheritance, but we can't get it until we have learned all these lessons. Because if we haven't learned those lessons and freed ourselves from them, there's going to be someone else. The devil prowls around like a lion, waiting to see who they can devour. There's always more people out there that are more deceptive, more manipulative, wear a better false mask. And until we are willing to stand up for like what we believe in, you are not going to deceive me and manipulate me. If you are trying to do that, I will speak my truth. The Three of Swords comes after the Two of Swords. I am not going to stay in two minds about the truth. I'm speaking my truth and how I'm moving forward. Are you coming with or not? And if you thought that behavior was acceptable, you're wrong. And if you do it again, this relationship will be over. You know, you need to set some good boundaries with some people in love. So tell us what else is coming up in this story of Leo energy. You know, you can be warm and loving and encouraging, and high vibe energy is leading by example. And some of you, you know, needless, are those type of people, and it can be very hard for you to stand up when people are acting shady. And all these life experiences could have get you to stop repeating that old pattern. That we have to speak our truth. I find this deceptive, manipulative, egotistical, prideful, something, you know? Because then we are ready for our divine inheritance, because we are not as easily able to be deceived and manipulated as we could have been in the past, because you're very loving and encouraging and sympathetic. Well, another thing is that I'm no longer getting in relationships with people who don't seem to be on that page already. I can offer everybody love and encouragement, but I'm going to keep moving on. If there's people in my life that I know are still harnessing this energy in a shadowy way, where before, oh my gosh, I'm going to try to change them. You know, no, not anymore. I'm done with that. I need to be in relationships with other people who have learned some of the same lessons I've learned, have detached from some of the same past pain, heartbreak, fears, insecurities, whatever, to the same kind of a similar degree that I have, right? I mean, just like you view life differently at age 18 and 15 than you did at 25. Who at 25 wants to keep hanging out with 15-year-olds or 18-year-olds, probably, you know? I mean, you can know all sorts of people again, but am I going to get in a more involved relationship? No. So, high vibe people have detached from an old pattern. They have emotionally detached. We can initially detach, and it takes a lot of time, and it's confusing to work through it. The Scorpio energy is also represented by the Seven of Cups. It's confusing because we are these emotionally complex human beings. I love them. I hate them. I never want to talk to them. I hope they call me tomorrow. You know, and we've got to work through all of that. And just keep listening to our intuition. Believe that God wants people to give birth to something new. God doesn't want people to repeat the same old patterns. If everybody kept repeating the same old patterns, we'd still be cave people. Look at all the things that human beings have created in the world. None of these things just magically popped up. You know, people had to create all these things that we have in the world. We have our creative, that's our life force energy. We all have our unique talent, skills, interest, imagination, creativity, all these things that get created in the world, and that's what high vibe energy is about. Let's move forward in an energy of inspiration and love, encouraging other people to love and believe in themselves. And if they're in that energy, those are people that you've both transformed your life and ready to move forward in life differently. And you keep going through that process throughout your life, shedding the old you to give birth, like death and transformation and rebirth. And other people are like, no, I don't want to change. No, I don't look at life from a higher perspective. No, I don't want to step out of my comfort zone. No, I don't want to deal with the truth of situations. Or I don't want to reveal the truth. I'm going to keep doing this. Like, well, enjoy your life. The moon reverse, the devil, the Queen of Cups, and the Five of Cups. And the reason that came out is because of the Ten of Pentacles. Well, the moon in reverse can be that people were kind of caught up in illusion. And for the first, I think, 30, 40 years of our life, we're learning all these lessons. We're really kind of manipulated by the world. And, you know, the world tells us, you should do this and you should do that. And if you do this and you do that, you'll be happy. And we're pretty sure we think they're right. So we go pursue all those things. And then, and we could have a lot of those things. We could have a lot of victory and success and indulge in a lot of things, but we kind of reminds me of that Bible verse that they read at weddings in 1 Corinthians, where it's like, but if I don't have love, it's like a resounding gong. It's it wasn't what we thought it was going to be. There's all these things that we look at outside of ourselves, like if I own this, if I wear this, if I have this much money, if I drink this, if I eat this, if I date that person, if I'm in a relationship, blah, 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 I'll be happy. True happiness comes from within, and the Ten of Pentacles is Virgo energy, about doing this inner work within ourselves to kind of look at those things we were keeping hidden beneath the surface, bring them out into the light, offer them love, so we can let them go. The past pain and heartbreak, the self-limiting beliefs, the fear, the insecurity, we've let go of the moon, the illusion and the shadow, to be in high vibe Leo energy of the sun. We're willing to face our fears in the devil. And we can have love for people. The devil can mean like people are attracted to. The devil card looks just like the lover's card, except they got like chains and shackles around their arms and neck. It was love, and there could have been love there, but it was restrictive or confining or imprisoning or limiting or something. And we offered love to it. When we offered love to other people, for them, to put an end to hiding their light beneath a bushel basket, and to shine their light in the world, to love their own worldly nature, so they could get balanced. 2 5 of Pentacles makes the 10 of Pentacles. We do have our more worldly philosophy of life. We do have these things of the world that we want. And we want stability and we want security and we like to indulge in some of these finer things in life. But we also have our more loving nature and hopeful, believing nature. And it is to try to maintain balance so we don't, if we're going to tip in favor of one side or the other, to tip in favor of love and hope and faith and belief. And we all, in the 5 of Cups, can be sad that how we've contributed to some relationships not working out the way we wish they would have worked out when we had growing up and maturing to do and lessons to learn. Other people that we could have love for that still are kind of caught up in themselves for things of the world. Hey, we've been there. We get it. Hope you get out. Because some of you who kind of got caught up in your own things, even if it was lack of self-worth, if it was not being harsh and critical to yourself, condemning yourself, if it was looking to things outside of yourself to be the answer, drugs, alcohol, being more codependent, you know how hard that is to get out of all of those things and how hard it is to love yourself. And when you've done that inner work within yourself, you can kind of see why other people don't do it. Because it's a painful process and it does take a lot of work and effort. You have to be inspired to want to transform your life. And some people might put in some work and effort, but if they would have to reveal, I was immature, I was bossy, I was controlling, I was selfish, I was lustful, I was greedy, I didn't love myself. Some people aren't willing to reveal the things that they have hidden. When we reveal the truth sets us free. And then there's you could look at the devil as just being human beings. There's other people in the world that have done the same work that we've done, who have aligned with their more emotionally intuitive, loving nature and the divine to hold themselves accountable for their actions. I don't want to repeat these past patterns. I want to transform my life. I want to shed and put a death to the old me to give birth to a new beginning and a new me. And that is a foundation that is abundant indeed in lots of different ways because of the insight and the wisdom that you have. And I maybe could go to extremes, like, oh my gosh, really get shadowy. When a card is in reverse, it can mean extremes. And the moon itself can be fear and insecurity and caught up in illusion. I could go all the way to totally being in illusion and shadow energy. I also could get too pulled into, like, oh my gosh, those poor sad people, or oh my gosh, I'm going to go change, and it's to be balanced. Again, everybody has this dualistic nature within themselves. Everybody has to do this work within themselves. The only person who can free them is themselves. Other people are good examples in the world. They offer people love and encouragement. I can be loving to all sorts of people in the world. Am I going to get in a more involved relationship with you? No. You stay in the friend zone. And as some of you are moving forward in your life, there's going to be some people that are going to do this work within themselves. Reveal the truth. Quit deceiving themselves. Quit repeating old patterns. They have gotten balanced within themselves. They want to be in relationships with other people who are balanced. And people in your present and people you'll meet in your future. There's going to be other people that, well, this isn't working out the way I want. Look at this person. They seem to be very abundant in many different ways. Loving, nurturing, supportive. Maybe I can go deceive and manipulate that person, and I can be the next person to indulge in a relationship with them. Some people aren't listening to their intuition, and they might get out of some situations. They might think because something didn't work out the way you had wanted at some point in time, or other people in your life, were hurtful or unkind or whatever, that, they can come on in and be the next person to try to take advantage of your loving nature. But you've learned a lot of lessons about people in the world. You might have been a very helpful, loving, giving, and it's kind of like then we could maybe look at the devil as I am more about aware of the world than I used to be. I used to be much more naive and gullible, maybe, and innocent and loving, and I still have hope and faith, and love is the answer. But all I can do is offer people love and encouragement. I can't change anyone. That was me being more in my ego. So now, with this wisdom that you have about shadow energy, you're not going to invest your more authentic, loving nature with just anyone. It could be more like, I'm just a person in the world, and then the devil's Capricorn energy. The Ten of Pentacles is Virgo energy. I'm going to be practical and grounded and focus on my job and focus on my friends and my family. Basically, the people who have been authentic and honest and loving with me. And the people who aren't doing that, who kind of, want to play these games or whatever, that's okay. You keep doing you, and I'll keep being grounded and practical, and I will not be overextending myself towards you. I can still be a loving, encouraging, human being. I might be attracted to you. I might want to be in more of a relationship with you. But because of these lessons I've learned and out of love for myself, I don't indulge in getting myself involved in something I shouldn't get involved with. So, what's coming up for some people who harness some high vibe Leo energy? The Fool and the Strength card, Leo energy. Why? Because of the Six of Swords, Aquarius energy. Because you're doing this work within yourself, by offering love to yourself and others in your life, that's what frees you, because it's our Virgo nature that goes within to see the truth and see through the illusion and the pain and the heartbreak and all that kind of stuff. And that's going to free you to go on a new journey because you kind of got out of your ego about it. And you have that, you gave yourself what you wished other people would have given you. And you have that hopeful, believing spirit. And the Six of Swords moves away from the Five of Swords. The 5, the 6, and the 7 of Swords are all Aquarius energy. Yeah, I had a dream, but there was something that wasn't right. And I did listen to my intuition, and I could have realized I was kind of in a relationship with someone who, the reason you would have stayed in some relationships with some people is because you thought you were on the same page as them. And you viewed them as like a loving, nurturing person. The only thing is, some people are loving and nurturing, but they want you to stay in shadowy energy. Or codependent energy. Like, I want to be like a mother to you. Don't you ever grow up and love yourself, because then you won't be more codependent on me. And this is the kind of relationship dynamic I like, and I don't plan to deal with my issues that make me like this type of relationship dynamic. I might want to be loving and encouraging, but I'm kind of being deceptive that I don't plan to heal or grow or mature myself. Whatever way I am, that is where I'm going to be. I have my own issues to deal with, but I don't want to deal with mine. So I might go get in relationships with other people who don't know the truth about me, who might have their own issues because of life that they've went through. And you see, that's why loving people can get in relationships with people who you kind of come to find out aren't who you thought they were. Because you actually did want people to heal and grow and mature and love themselves and free themselves, just like you wanted that for yourself. But then you get in relationships with people who seem like they're that same type of person, but they don't want you. It's like you can kind of free yourself so much, but not so much that you want to go on a new journey. And you look at life differently than you did before, from like a different perspective, because I don't. I still want to do this type of relationship. And they'll go try to find someone else that they think's in that energy. And those people will have to go through the same thing. It's like people who want to be in a relationship, like it would be kind of like the devil, right? I want you to view me as loving. Don't see that I'm the devil. I really don't have your best interests. I want you to view me as loving. You can grow and heal in some, but don't really believe in your dreams. Don't temper your more worldly, egoic nature, because I haven't tempered mine. And I want to keep moving forward in a more worldly, egoic view of life. And if you really are ready to go live your more authentic life and take a leap of faith, and you want me to do it, sorry, but I'm not doing that. That's not my truth. And that's when you find out that they're kind of a little bit more about not tempering their ego or their fears or looking at life from a higher perspective. And they're more about looking like a shining star, or people looking to them like you're their God. They're your God. Be codependent on me. Don't love and believe in yourself. Don't believe in God. I'm supposed to be God in your life. What's coming up for the more shadowy Leo people that they don't see coming? The Eight of Swords. Why? Because of the Page of Cups. You know, everybody comes into each other's lives to try to help them learn lessons in life. Some of the people who thought, oh, look, I'll just go get in a relationship with this person I'm attracted to, who's loving, who's insightful, who's maybe not being deceptive and manipulative, who has some of their past pain and heartbreak, you know, but they're kind of loving and encouraging. That's maybe not my truth, but I'll go get in a relationship with them. And whenever that doesn't work out, I can just go back to the way I was. Well, what happens, it's just like having a job. What happens if you've had these different jobs in your life and then you go work somewhere where people are, the pages can talk about people who are authentic and loving, who inspire you to love and believe in yourself, to work through your fears and insecurities to grow to your full potential. And then you try to go back to going to a work environment where people aren't like that anymore. Kind of like their norm. It's pretty hard. Some people thought I can just, or thought I do want to go repeat a pattern of the past, or work with people who are kind of like the people I used to hang out with before. They're not the same person. They did change a little bit, still not willing to reveal the truth, but they were in a relationship with someone who was authentic and loving. And they might not have been used to that. And they thought, no, this is out of my comfort zone. I'm going to go back and get relationships with people who repeat that old pattern that I like and that way of being and maybe more superficial and shallow. I'm sure that's where I'll be happy. And some of those people didn't want to face their fears, caught up in the illusion of the world. I'll go repeat this old pattern with someone else. And I'll just turn my back on the fact that I'm sad about a relationship that didn't work with someone who was loving and encouraging of me, but maybe I'm just not loving and encouraging of me. Maybe I'm too afraid to step out of my comfort zone, be more authentic, be more loving. That puts me in the danger zone, and I'm not willing to go there, so I'm going to go repeat this old pattern. And some of them will find out they're kind of in a mental prison, for one. Another way this could be read is they're going to try to go repeat an old pattern. And they're always going to have some high vibe people in their life that are offering them love and encouragement, friends, family, romantic interests, whatever. And eventually some of those people are going to wish them peace and they're going to move on. Until these people are willing to deal with the truth, and some people self-sabotage themselves. If some people have a lack mentality, where like in their subconscious or in their quiet moments, people always leave me, people always reject me, nothing ever works out for me. These people can be in relationships where people are being loving and encouraging and supportive, but we will always prove ourselves true. And they sabotage the relationship. They get up in their head, they get up in their fears, they convince themselves that, no, I'm sure that love is a danger zone. Now I'm going to make my life about these other things instead. And then they end up left out in the cold. And then they could be kind of confused, some of them, because some of them, shadowy Taurus, shadowy Leo, shadowy Devil, shadowy Virgo, shadowy Aquarius. Oh my gosh, I look like a shining star in the world. I'm attractive, I'm charming, I have status, image, power, look at what I wear, look at what I drive, look how much money I have. Male or female, some people are just really full of themselves, and they think because they have this certain status or image, they don't have to be more just and fair. There's some loving people in the world that things didn't work out. And they're probably looking to get in a relationship with someone who might have some of these things of the world that they want. Whether that's a man who's loving, who wants sex or stability or security or just to be in a relationship, or a woman who's loving that is looking to be in a relationship for their reasons. And there's some people that are like, I'm unwilling to get out of my pride and ego, and I keep staying full of myself. I might have some of those people take a leap of faith to come get in a relationship with me. But because I'm unwilling to see that I am full of myself, or kind of manipulative, or kind of controlling, or kind of immature, or whatever, eventually those people move on, and they just can't understand why people don't want to be in a relationship with them. Why do people take a leap of faith with these people up here? Why do those people's dreams come into reality? Because those people are authentic and loving and warm and truthful and honest. And some of these people, it's all just putting on a show. Look at me. Some people play the victim. Oh, poor me, I was left out in the cold. Oh, those people were deceptive and manipulative. But really, they're the ones who like to play the victim, and they believe it within themselves. Some of the people that some of you could know who have a lack mentality, who might be full of themselves, are intimidating, controlling, kind of toxic in a relationship, act like a private detective. Some shadowy Scorpio traits there. No one has to be a Scorpio sun sign. Anybody can harness shadowy Scorpio. They do not want to listen to their intuition, that they get up in their head or full of themselves and think they should be indulged, or they get up in their head in their fear that other people are trying to manipulate them, and they do some toxic, unhealthy things in a relationship. And they refuse to see the truth of it. And they sabotage their own relationships, but they don't want to see the truth of that. And eventually, some of the people, if they get some people who are willing to stay in a relationship with them, could be friends and family members who are in a mental prison about them. And those are the people that are going to keep trying to offer them love and encouragement. Other people who might stay in a relationship are just some other people who have some lessons to learn from people like this, just like other people did. It's kind of like God can use all people for his good purposes. The shadowy people, oh, I know some people in the world that need to know about people like you. It is a good thing you're in the neighborhood, because these people, it's going to hurt. But these people have some lessons to learn that, high vibe Virgo is seeing things that were hidden in the dark. Things we didn't even know were hidden in the dark. And there's a lot of shadowy people in the world. And we need to be aware that just because you're motivated by truth and love and justice and fairness does not mean everyone is. And I used to say, because I think God keeps things in balance, like 50% of the people were maybe more tilted towards shadow and 50% towards more high vibrational. But I've come to realize there's those people in between that still haven't picked a path. We do have free will to pick a path, but then so maybe it's one third, and then the other third haven't decided yet, and they didn't even know they had to pick a path. And it's like, yes, there's people in the world that have picked the path. I have hope and faith and belief and love, and I don't care what happens in my life. I will have victory over people who try to be shadowy in my life. You will not stop me from being in an energy of love. I will just see that you are not someone I want to work with, and I will move on. And then there's the people that's like, oh my gosh, I'm so afraid of love, and I am still more codependent, maybe looking for someone to mother me because I haven't learned to love myself. Or I am very immature and self-indulgent, got a lot of lessons to learn, and that's their truth. And then there's the people that can't decide. I like it better 1/3, 1/3, 1/3 than half and half. Just keep listening to your intuition, speak your truth, temper your ego, get to know people. Some of the shadowy people, what they don't realize too is that they can think they're the boss, but there's other people in the world who want to be in a relationship with people like them. Huh. You had loving people that were like loving and encouraging, and it seems like could all been great, but you didn't move forward with them. Interesting. So you're really kind of more about being kind of indulged in a relationship, and your ego and your image is really important to you? Okay, well that works for me. Yeah, let's get in a relationship. I will indulge you because of the reasons I want to be in the relationship, not because of love. And eventually you might be caught up in the illusion and think we're living the dream, but eventually you might end up seeing the truth that, because some people are under the illusion that other people will love them, and that's what they're looking for. They love themselves, and other people should love them. We should learn to love ourselves and be loving to others so that we can do equal give and take. But some people are like, well, no, I'm more about myself. And it's more about me finding someone to love me because I haven't learned to love myself. So I kind of have a hard time loving other people when I haven't even learned to love myself. And they might get in a relationship with someone who's just as fearful of love. And it's just to be in a relationship more out of the love of the things that they indulge in, or just being in a relationship to be in a relationship, or the money or the status or the image so they don't feel left out in the cold because they haven't learned to feel loving within themselves. So there you go, Leo. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.